third chapter Bhagavad-gita, and today we will start fourth chapter. Okay, fourth chapter Bhagavad-gita. Fourth chapter name is Transcendental Knowledge. Text Sri Bhagavan Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Abhayam Vivasvana Manave Praha Manur Ikshvaku Abravit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Purport. Herein we find the history of the Bhagavad-gita. Very interesting verse, very important, because many people think that Bhagavad-gita came only 5,000 years back. So that's not the case. So here we are finding some history of Bhagavad-gita. So Prabhupada is saying that we find the history of Bhagavad-gita traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order, the king of all planets. This science is especially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand it in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from the material bondage to lust. So the point is here that Bhagavad-gita was first spoken to Arjuna. That's what we know generally. General people know this only, that Bhagavad-gita is spoken to Arjuna first. But that's not the case, because in Bhagavad-gita itself, Krishna is saying and giving us information that I spoke this Bhagavad-gita to Sun God thousands of years back. Long ago, the same Bhagavad-gita which today I am telling you, Arjuna, I have said this Bhagavad-gita, same knowledge, to Sun God, Vivasvan. That means originally Bhagavad-gita is not 5,000 years old, but actually even more, thousands and thousands and thousands of years back, it was told to the Sun God. And that Sun God told the same knowledge to his son, and then his son. Okay, so Sun God told this to Manu, Manu told to Ikshvaku, and like that, this knowledge is being transferred. So Prabhupada is saying that the knowledge was first of all told to a king of the all planets, and here also the knowledge is being told to Arjuna. He is also king, Kshatriya. So Bhagavad-gita knowledge, by seeing this situation, is supposed to be, means it is very good thing that the kings, the royal order should learn Bhagavad-gita. It is especially for them. Why it is for them? Because when they will learn Bhagavad-gita and they will live their life as per Bhagavad-gita, they will rule they will rule and they will take care of the citizens as per Bhagavad-gita. Okay, so if they learn Bhagavad-gita, then if they understand Bhagavad-gita, then they can rule citizens and protect them from the material bondage to lust. Okay, because they themselves, their life, they can lead their life towards the pure life, and in this way they can also lead their followers, their citizens to pure life. Okay, that's the way, that's the point here. Okay, that if like in modern situation, like ministers and politicians, if they live their life as per Bhagavad-gita and they rule as per Bhagavad-gita, then the society will become very peaceful, right? Further, Prabhupada is saying that human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. In eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture and devotion. So human life is meant for one purpose, that is bhakti, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, right? So in eternal relationship with Krishna, and so everybody should understand this thing. What is that? The spiritual knowledge, the first level of spiritual knowledge is that I am the servant of Krishna. That's the first spiritual knowledge. First level, okay. So that relationship, when I understand my relationship with Krishna, then I act accordingly. That is called sambandha jnana. Okay, when, like if I know, like a child, he understands his sambandha, his relationship with father, then he act accordingly. So when he deal with his father, he keeps in his mind that this is my father and I am his son. So he knows what is my, what type of dealings should be there between me and my father, because he is my father. So when we understand that I am servant of Krishna, then when we realize this knowledge, then we know that what kind of dealings should be there between me and Krishna. Yes? So, there's a point here. So, I understand now, okay, that I am servant of Krishna. So, my dealing should be serve Krishna. So, how to serve Krishna? So, ask Krishna, what pleases you? So, Krishna says that, what pleases me? These things pleases me. Engage your mind in my service, in me, worship me, offer your obeisances to me, like that. Become my devotee. So these things, sarva dharmana parityajya, leave everything, all the religious things, all kind of dharmas, leave them and follow the pure dharma. What is that? Mamekam sharanam braja. Follow this dharma, that surrender only unto me. Okay, so he's saying that. So that's the instructions. Satatam kirtayanto mam, always chant my holy name. Okay, so these are the instructions of Krishna. So one should follow that. Okay, so now all states, the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture and devotion. So Prabhupada is saying that this knowledge, now that I am servant of Krishna, I must serve Krishna, my duty, my responsibility is to serve Krishna. This knowledge should be given, should be taught, should be cultivated. By whom? By the leaders, by the king. In between the citizens. All the citizens should be trained in this knowledge of spirituality, in this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, by education, by culture and by devotion. So this is the king's duty, the leaders. The leader duty, that he should be, he is obliged to do that. He should be able to cultivate devotion, cultivate spirituality in among the citizens. That's the responsibility. So we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, like Prithu Maharaj, like many other kings. So they act in such a way so that the citizens can follow and citizens can act on devotion. Okay, and in this way all the citizens can perfect their life. Now the point is that if the king doesn't do that, then he is not a proper king. Because as a king, that is also the main responsibility of a king is that all the citizens should become devotee of Krishna. All these leaders, like the kings, like the parents, like guru, like husband, so these are the different leaders. So these leaders are Actually, they can take only leading position when they are able to perfect the lives of their dependents. So, in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Rishabdev says that if one cannot deliver the dependents, then they should not take position of father, husband, king, guru, like that. Okay. So if a father, parents, Janani, and the parents, they cannot, if the parents are not able to deliver the child from the birth and death cycle, then he is not authorized to become parents. He is not allowed. He should not become parents. They should not become parents. And if the husband cannot deliver wife, if guru cannot deliver the disciples, and if the kings cannot make citizens devotee of Krishna, then they should not take this leading position. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness. So they are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path, utilizing the opportunity of the human form of life. Yeah, that is their job. Okay, that they make, because king can make such a rule, such a system, so that all the citizens follow proper dharma. Yes? Okay, and in this way all the citizens can grow in bhakti. In this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivaswan, the king of the sun, which is the origin of all planets within the solar system. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Yachakshur Yesha Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramurtir Ashesha Teja Yasya Gyaya Brahmati Samvrit Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Let me worship. Lord Brahma is saying, what? Lord Brahma said, let me worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person and under whose order the sun, which is the king of all planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses its orbit in obedience to his order. So here it is mentioned that sun travels. The sun is the king of the planets and the sun god at present of the name Vivaswan. So presently the sun god name is Vivaswan because sun is also a position. So presently who is doing the job of sun? Vivaswan. So the sun is the king of the planets and the sun god rules the sun planet. So sun planet is ruled by sun god, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. Okay, so sun god rules the sun planet, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. He is rotating under the order of Krishna. And Lord Krishna originally made Vivaswan his first disciple to understand the science of Bhagavad-gita. The Gita is not therefore a speculative treatise for the insignificant mundane scholar, but is a standard book of knowledge coming down from time immemorial. Okay, so it is coming not only from 5000 years, but time immemorial it is coming. Okay. In the Mahabharata, Shanti Parva, we can trace out the history of the Gita as follows. So here is the history given in Mahabharata Shanti Parva, history of Bhagavad-gita. Mahabharata Shanti Parva 348.51 and 52. Treta Yugadayau cha tato Vivaswana Manave Manuscha Lok Bhriti Artham Sutaye Kshavakave Dadau Ikshva Kunacha Kathito Vyapya Lokane Avasthita. In the beginning of the Treta Yuga, millennium, the science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivaswan to Manu. Same thing. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this earth, planet and forefather of the Raghu dynasty in which Lord Ramchandra appeared. Okay. Therefore, Bhagavad-gita existed in the human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. So, you see, this is wonderful. This is so much wonderful information. Because, you see here, Mahabharata, it is written that Bhagavad-gita was available before Lord Ramchandra also. And Krishna gave this knowledge of Bhagavad-gita to Sun God. Yes, Sun God gave it to his son Manu. Manu gave to Ikshvaku, and in that Ikshvaku dynasty one king was Raghu, and in that Raghu dynasty one king was Dasarath, and then after Dasarath, Lord Ramchandra. So you see, Lord Ramchandra, and people think that Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna only in Dwapar Yuga, end of the Dwapar Yuga. Okay? So here itself it is proven that Krishna existed always. Because if Krishna did not exist, then how Krishna is saying that I gave this knowledge to Sun God, Vivaswan? So that means he existed. People thinking that no, Krishna existed only after Lord Ram, because he is one of the incarnation of Vishnu. No? So you can understand from here itself. Many places it is said in different way, but people cannot think that much. They just take the simple information. They don't have much information first of all. Because Krishna is saying here in Bhagavad Gita itself that I gave this knowledge to Sun God. Yes? So Sun God gave it to his son Manu. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. And further, this came in the disciple succession. So if Krishna gave the knowledge to Sun God, that means it is proven that Krishna was there before even Lord Ramchandra. Right? So that is why it is said in Bhagavatam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the root of all the incarnations. Right? He is Swayam Bhagavan. Okay. Okay, so therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in the human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. At the present moment, we have just passed through 5,000 years of the Kali Yuga, which lasts 4,32,000 years. Before this, there was Dwapar Yuga, 8 lakh years. Okay, so Kali Yuga is 4,32 years. 4,32,000 years, Kali Yuga age. Dwapar Yuga is just double, Treta Yuga is just triple, and Satyuga is 4 times of Kali Yuga. So before this there was Dwapar Yuga 8 lakh years, and before that there was Treta Yuga 12 lakhs years. The sum around 20 lakhs years ago, Manu spoke the Bhagavad Gita to his disciple and son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this planet Earth. The age of the current Manu is calculated to last some 305, oh my god, so much. 305 billion, right? 30 million, what is that? Years, of which 124,00,000 have passed. So many years. Just keep calculating this. Accepting that before this birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken. Accepting that before the birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken by the Lord to his disciple, the sun god Vivaswan. Okay. The rough estimate is that the Gita was spoken at least 1,2,0,4,0,0,0,0 years ago, my God. And people think only 5,000 years back. And in human society it has been extant for 2 million years. It was re-spoken by the Lord again to Arjuna about 5,000 years ago. So before 5,000 years, this Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna, but it was re-spoken because already Bhagavad Gita existed, and Bhagavad Gita was first spoken by Krishna himself to Sun God. That is a rough estimate of the history of the Gita. Okay, so here itself Bhagavad Gita has proven that humans existed millions and millions and millions years ago, and they knew how to write and read and what all this knowledge was existed. So that is the rough estimate of the history of the Gita. According to the Gita itself, okay, so this is the rough estimate of the history of the Gita according to Gita itself and according to the version of the speaker Lord Sri Krishna. What Krishna says? It was spoken to the sun god Vivaswan because he is also a Kshatriya and is the father of all Kshatriyas who are descendants of the sun god or the Surya Vamsha Kshatriyas. Okay, so in 9th canto Srimad Bhagavatam we find the description of Surya Vansa and Chandra Vansa. Because Bhagavad Gita is as good as the Vedas, being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this knowledge is apaurushaya, superhuman. So as the Vedas are the sound vibration after the breathing of Lord, so same way Bhagavad Gita itself is spoken by Krishna. So there is no difference between Vedas and Bhagavad Gita. Since the Vedic instructions are accepted as they are, without human interpretation, the Gita must therefore be accepted without mundane interpretation. So there should not be any mundane interpretation on Bhagavad Gita. The mundane wranglers may speculate on the Gita in their own ways, but that is not Bhagavad Gita as it is. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave the name Bhagavad-gita as it is. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita has to be accepted as it is from the disciple succession, and it is described here in that the Lord spoke to the sun god spoke to his son Manu, and Manu spoke to his son Ikshvaku. Okay, so here is the history of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Hare Krishna. So text number 2 we shall do tomorrow. Thank you so much. Now after 5 minutes, there will be Srimad Bhagavatam class.